Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are tackling a question I get asked all the time, which is stocks versus crypto. Where should you actually invest your money in 2025? With all the hype, volatility, and endless debates online, it's easy to feel stuck, confused, or even afraid to make a move. But in this video, I'm going to break it down in a way that actually makes sense so you can figure out what works best for you. Let's start with this. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. Both stocks and crypto have their place, and both come with completely different risk profiles, growth potential, and long-term strategies. So instead of trying to decide which one is better, the smarter move is figuring out how each one fits into your goals, your risk tolerance, and your timeline. First, let's talk about stocks. Stocks have been around for centuries. They represent ownership in real companies, businesses that make products, generate revenue, and employ people. When you invest in stocks, you are buying into companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, or thousands of others. And historically, the stock market has delivered around 7 to 10% annual returns over the long run. It's not flashy, it's not viral, but it works, especially if you invest in ETFs like VOO or QQM, where you get exposure to hundreds of companies at once. It's slow and steady, but that's what builds real wealth. Stocks are regulated, they are backed by decades of history, and they're relatively stable when compared to something like crypto. You can earn dividends, take advantage of tax advantage accounts like the Roth IRAs, and most importantly, sleep at night knowing your portfolio probably won't crash 40% overnight. If you're looking for long-term, low-stress growth, then stocks are for you. Now let's talk about crypto. Completely different world. Crypto is newer, more volatile, more exciting, and honestly way riskier. When you invest in crypto, you're not investing in companies, you're investing in technology, protocols, and decentralized networks. Things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, they are not businesses. They are digital assets, and their value comes from supply, demand, utility, and belief. Crypto has had wild returns in the past. Some people made life-changing money, but it's also crashed hard. If you've been in the space for a while, you already know it's not for the faint of heart. One tweet can move prices. A new regulation can shake the entire market. So if you're thinking about crypto in 2025, you need to understand what you're getting into. That said, crypto isn't just hype anymore. We are seeing more regulations, more adoption, and more infrastructure being built. Bitcoin ETFs have launched, Ethereum is shifting to proof of stake, and institutions are starting to dip their toes in. So while it's risky, it's becoming legit. The key is not going all in, it's being strategic with your exposure. So where should you invest in 2025, stocks or crypto? The answer is probably both, but how much depends on your personal goals. If you're someone who values stability, wants consistent returns, and is planning for retirement, you should be leaning more towards stocks. Think 70, 80, maybe even 90% of your portfolio depending on your age and risk tolerance. But if you're young, have time on your side, and can handle volatility without panicking, crypto can be part of your portfolio too. Maybe 10%, maybe 20%, maybe even 30% if you're extremely risk tolerant. The key is to only invest what you can afford to leave alone for a few years and maybe even lose. Because crypto can crash hard, and if you panic sell at the bottom, you lose twice. What I like to do and what I recommend for most people is build a strong foundation in stocks, especially with ETFs. That's your safe compounding engine. Then layer in crypto on top of that as a growth play. Not something you rely on, not something you YOLO your rent money into, but a smaller size that could give your portfolio a boost if it performs well over the next 5 to 10 years. And if you're wondering whether now is a good time to invest in either, here's the truth. There's no perfect time. Markets will always move, crypto will always be unpredictable, but if you wait too long trying to time everything perfectly, you will miss the most valuable asset you have, which is time. So start now, even if it's a small amount. Dollar cost average, stay consistent, and keep learning. In 2025, you're living in a time where regular people have access to tools, platforms, and opportunities that didn't exist just a few years ago. You can own stocks in seconds, buy fractions of Bitcoin, invest from your phone, automate everything. So don't waste that, use it. So here's how I'd break it down if you're starting fresh. Build your emergency fund first, get rid of high interest debt with maybe 10 to 20% in crypto if you're comfortable with it. Stay away from hype coins and TikTok pumps. Focus on assets with real potential like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, maybe a few others if you've done your research. But keep your foundation in the stock market. That's where your long-term stability comes from. With that being said, thanks for watching. If this helped clear things up, hit that like button and subscribe. I post weekly content on investing, financial freedom, and how to build wealth without the fluff. And drop a comment below. Are you team stocks, team crypto, or a mix of both? Remember, you don't have to pick sides, you just have to play it smart. See you in the next one.